question is from Mikey, and he asks, actually, before I do that, I haven't been on these blue mats with you guys in a while. It's good to be here. Most of the time, I'm too busy to do it during these times during the day, and our gym has been bumping, just super busy all the time, which is good, but I don't really get a lot of time to do the videos here, and this is actually my favorite place to do them, so happy to be here with you today. But Mikey's question, anyway, is it possible to take jiu-jitsu too seriously? And so just curious what my thoughts are on it. So Mikey, thank you for the question, brother. And the short answer is yes, it is possible to take it too seriously. I think that we take a lot of things too seriously sometimes, right? We're all guilty of it. So for those of you that hate my long-winded answers, and maybe you have your attention span destroyed by social media, there's the short answer. You can go to the next video, and for those of you that stick around, well, then we'll dive a little deeper into this idea, right? So I've seen this happen with kids numerous times where they will come into the gym, and this will kind of explain where I'm going with this idea about taking it too seriously. The kid will come into the gym and they soak everything up like a sponge. You'll see kids doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Many coaches have experienced the same thing where you will watch kids and they'll be experimenting and they'll be doing positions that you've never told them to. They're just figuring out. This kid that I'm thinking about in my head for a particular, he was playing De La Riva guard. He didn't know what he was doing. I even asked him, I was like, have you been watching YouTube videos? This is about probably almost 8 years ago. I was like, have you been watching YouTube videos? Do you know what you're doing? He's like, no, I'm just doing this because this works. And he was just kind of he's like 8 years old. And he's just showing how he could sweep the guy. He was doing a basic hook sweep. I'm like, man, this is incredible. This damn kid learned how to play De La Riva guard and he's never seen it before. And maybe if he saw it, he never really even knew what the name was. Pretty impressive. And then all of a sudden this kid has the parent. I remember the parent started coming up to me of this same kid. Where's, and I'm just going to give them a name, right? Just so not calling their name out. Where's little Billy's belt? When did they get belts? When does little Billy get a stripe, right? How come so-and-so got a stripe, but little Billy didn't get a stripe? And then I saw the parent kind of talking to the kid a bit. And then all of a sudden I watched that this kid went from being really excited to come in, really excited to train. And then when they were training, you could see that their focus on training wasn't as much. When they were rolling, they were a little bit more aggressive and they weren't playing as much as they used to. And then all of a sudden they didn't want to come to class anymore and they canceled it. Now, I've seen that happen numerous times, and it happens because these kids are coming in and they're initially just playing around. They're just having fun. They're like, oh, this is fun. We're just messing around. We're wrestling with each other. This is fun, right? Because most of the time little kids can't just wrestle with each other. It's usually not allowed, right? Like going to schools, you get in trouble for wrestling. So they're just wrestling around, having a good time. And then all of a sudden, the adult says, hey, we need some results. Where's that stripe? Where's that belt? Why aren't you beating the other kids? All of a sudden, oh, I'm supposed to be serious about this like everything else, right? Like you think about these kids go to school and everything has to be serious. We got a test going on. We got to do this. We got to get these grades. It's all of a sudden, it's no longer a chance to play and experiment and explore. It's a chance we have to produce results. We've got to be serious about it. And I think that's kind of where it goes with me when I think about this. Like, when is it too serious? When all of a sudden you remove any aspect of play out of it. I'm not saying that there's not times to be driven to produce results. Like maybe you got a competition coming up in jiu-jitsu, you got to work hard, right? Maybe you want to achieve something, you got to bust your butt. Maybe your coach says, hey, listen, I'm thinking about giving you the belt or whatever, but I need you to do this. Well, then you say, okay, good. I got a mission. Let me go after it. But you can't do that forever because you'll burn out. But also, even during those periods of time when you're really going after something, you always want to sprinkle in some play, right? Because even like me, I'm getting ready for like a no-gi competition, right? So almost all my training is no-gi, and I'm training really hard for it, lifting weights, training, doing extra stuff, drilling, but I'm still training and I still have a little play sprinkled in there, and I still have a gi day on Tuesday. And that gi day is for me to continue to play in the kimono and stuff, and that's like a play day because I'm getting ready for a no-gi competition. So when I walk in, I'm like, I don't care how today goes, I'm just playing today. Today's just fun. I'm gonna play a lot looser, a lot slower, and I'm gonna just mess around a little bit, have fun. And it's interesting because I guess here's the reason why play is so important. Play is important because that's how we learn in that's how humans typically learn. I mean, before the sort of modern construction of education where we have classrooms and we sit there and all this stuff. I mean, humans, the way that we learned was experimenting with stuff and playing around, and that's how we did stuff. You think about the people that often I think about as an American, right? You think about the people that built this country and stuff. these weren't people that had our same education systems. There was a lot of them that were just messing around and finding things that they were interested in and exploring and seeing what happens. You know, you're like, man, those guys were incredibly intelligent. They built this place. And again, they didn't have the stuff that we have. They didn't have the massive funding that we had. They were just allowed to play around with stuff and go deeper and deeper into these particular subjects. Not that I'm trying to rag on education. I'm just saying that, again, we make it so serious. We got tests, we got to do this. And we do the same thing with jiu-jitsu sometimes, right? And so to cut this off so I don't get too all over the place, just had a coffee a minute ago, so I'm a little hyper. When you're training, the whole thing becomes too serious when you remove play. If you don't have play so that your brain stays in a nice supple state where you can experiment and explore and not give a damn whether or not you have any external rewards, whether you submit anybody, whether you get a stripe or belt, and you just do it because you kind of enjoy it. You find an intrinsic motivation that says, I enjoy doing this. And I don't care about what is coming to me. It's like when I lift weights. I don't care anything about it. I do it because I want to do it. When I ride horses right now, I've been talking about that a bunch. I suck at it. I'm not good. I'm like a super beginner, and I'll probably always not be very good at it. I'll be like okay at best. So what? I enjoy doing it. I don't need an external reward for it. And so again, you have to have that play in it. That's when we learn. It's one of our optimal states of learning as far as our brain goes when we're playing. And when you remove that, you're taking it too seriously. And not only will it hinder your ability to learn, you'll burn out, and the whole darn thing becomes too serious, and you'll probably not want to do it anymore. Just like we did with school when we were kids. And so just an idea to chew on. And Mike, hope that helps you.